The Bush administration is coming in really in its final months and attempting to do not necessarily a complete total package of a settlement, but at least some kind of agreement between the Palestinian Authority on the one side and the Israelis on the other, on the outline of agreement, what an agreement would look like, something that they could then take each set of leaders to their own people and say, this is what a settlement would look like, would you please sign on? Well, the two-state solution has been kind of the fundamental basis of diplomacy explicitly for the last 5 years or so, and implicitly really for almost the last 10 or 15 years. And everybody, all the international actors are very much invested in it. The problem is, I'm not quite sure it's viable. But the deeper problem is when you look at the alternatives are actually worse. Continuation of the status quo is not manageable. A one-state solution, which Palestinians sometimes put forward as an alternative, in a sense, the one-state solution is a worse version of the current situation, where you have two peoples who fundamentally want to live apart from each other, scrunched together in a single entity. Wouldn't be the lions lying down with the lambs. It would be a situation of domination and resistance taking place not across borders, but within a state. We have to recognize that we're not going to get to a two-state solution right away. And in fact, there are very, very severe, almost insurmountable obstacles to realizing it. If we decide that we want to surmount those obstacles, there are two critical ones. Number one, the Israelis are simply deeply entrenched on the West Bank, and they have to take some kind of measures that communicate to themselves and to the world and to the Palestinians that they're willing to reverse that. And that would mean things like not simply a settlement freeze, but dismantling some settlements, pulling out of some areas. The second obstacle that people sometimes overlook is really an institutional decay on the Palestinian side. We've got divided leadership, we've got leaders who don't necessarily speak for their own people, and there has to be a revival of some kind of viable Palestinian leadership. Otherwise, you're negotiating with people who may be pleasant, but who cannot deliver their own side. The new administration really has got to look at the underlying fundamentals, the political fundamentals that have made a two-state solution impractical at present. And the chief one that they've really got to pay attention to is the political decay on the Palestinian side. There's got to be a revival of a viable Palestinian leadership that can deliver its people.